city of Ravenna in northwest Italy rose to become the imperial capital of the Western Roman Empire from the year 402. It was capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom from 493 to 553, and the capital of the reclaimed Byzantine territory from 554 to 751. This is the church of San Vitale, often regarded as one of the most magnificent examples of Byzantine art and architecture. Its mosaics of the Emperor Justinian and Empress Theodora are particularly iconic. In fact, although the building was completed after the Byzantine reconquest of Ravenna, it was begun under Ostrogothic rule during the reign of Queen Amalasuntha. However, hers was a regime with close ties to Byzantine Constantinople, and the influence of Byzantium can be seen in aspects of the building from its layout to the size of the very bricks from which it was built, which were to a size standard in Constantinople, but not yet before seen in Ravenna. The current building was begun in 526 under Bishop Ecclesius, who can be seen in the apse mosaic offering a model of the completed church. The building was dedicated to a 2nd century martyr named Vitalis, Vitale in Italian. Ecclesias's building was built over the remains of an earlier church, from which parts of the floor paving still survive. Ecclesias died in 532 with the building unfinished. Construction was continued under Bishop Ursicinus and his successor, Victor. Victor's monogram can still be seen on some of the impost capitals in the church. Julian the Argentarius, a sort of banker, paid 26,000 gold solidi towards the construction, and his monograms also adorn some of the column capitals. The building was finally finished and consecrated in the year 547, under Archbishop Maximinian. Maximinian had been appointed by Justinian himself, and he commemorated his role in the construction of the church by inserting his portrait into the imperial procession, or at least putting his name on the portrait, which could actually be a likeness of one of his predecessors. The design of San Vitale is centrally planned, rather than longitudinal like a basilica. It has an octagonal shape on the outside, and on the inside 2 stories forming a shell consisting of an ambulatory and galleries, which support a central dome. The design and appearance of the building draws lots of comparisons with architecture in the imperial capital of Constantinople, especially the church of St. Sergius and Bacchus, which was built in the 530s as part of the palace complex of Justinian and Theodora before he became emperor. The exact degree and direction of influence is a matter of dispute, but the interior elevation and the carving of the capitals share a strong resemblance. Most of the interior of the church was repainted in the 18th century in the Baroque style. The original 6th century wall mosaics are preserved in the apse and the area of the altar known as the presbytery. The main focus is the apse, showing Christ robed in purple and enthroned on a blue orb from which flow the 4 rivers of paradise. Christ is flanked by 2 angels. He is extending the crown of martyrdom to St. Vitalis on the left and receiving a model of the church from the founder Ecclesias on the right. They stand in a field representing earthly paradise, with flowers representing purity and the blood of martyrdom, and birds, with the peacock representing eternal life. The most famous scenes are probably on the left and right sides of the presbytery, below the apse. These contain the portraits of the imperial couple, Justinian and Theodora, surrounded by male and female attendants. These group scenes show a procession taking place. Movement is suggested by the way the figures appear one in front of the other, and the way this attendant holds the curtain open, indicating the direction of movement. Both Justinian and Theodora are carrying vessels made of gold and decorated with jewels. Justinian carries a sort of basket, and Theodora carries a chalice. These vessels are a reference to the bread and wine of the Christian Eucharist, and suggest that the imperial couple are being represented taking part in a procession related to the Eucharist, bringing the holy bread and wine to the altar. In the Christian liturgy of the time, the Eucharist recalls Christ's sacrifice on behalf of humanity, and other scenes in the apse contain episodes of Old Testament sacrifice, which were believed by Christians to prefigure the suffering and death of Christ. On the north wall, the main scene in the lunette are two episodes from the life of Abraham that evoke the Eucharist and Christ's sacrifice. In the first scene, Abraham and his wife Sarah offer hospitality to three strangers. They are revealed to be angels and prophesy the birth of a son to the couple. The loaves of bread in front of the angels with crosses on them are a specific reference to the Christian Eucharist. In the scene to the right, Abraham prepares to sacrifice his only son, Isaac. The hand of God reaches down, and at the last minute the lamb, seen at Abraham's feet, is substituted for the child. On the south wall, we have two scenes from sacrifice from the book of Genesis. On the left, Abel, standing in front of a humble shepherd's hut, offers up a lamb at a cloth-covered altar. Mirrored on the right by Melchizedek in priestly garb, in front of a classical-looking temple, offering a loaf of bread. This was a gesture of hospitality made to Abraham, thought by Christians to prefigure the Eucharist. The imagery of the presbytery is iconographically linked by the scenes and symbols of sacrifice, which are thematically relevant to the sacrament of the Eucharist, which would have been performed in that space. In addition to the theme of sacrifice, themes of imperial power and majesty are also echoed throughout, in the angels carrying wreaths, a motif of victory borrowed from classical antiquity, to the representations of Christ in majesty, and, of course, the representations of the imperial couple in full regalia. Even though Justinian and Theodora never actually visited Ravenna, their presence is very much felt in the church of San Vitale.